Dating middle-aged folks. What you need to know. G'day, mates. Today, we are diving into a topic that might ruffle a few feathers, but it's one worth chewing over. Especially if you're navigating the dating scene with folks in their 40s or 50s. I've been coaching a top-notch bloke for a while now, a seasoned gent who's got his life sorted. Think high-flying exec. Pulling in a cracking income, net worth up in the millions, fit as a fiddle, tall, and let's just say he's not short on charm. He's the kind of fella most would reckon is in the top 1% of blokes out there. But even he keeps tripping over the same hurdle when dating middle-aged folks. And it's a lesson worth sharing with you younger lads and seasoned gents alike. Let's set the scene with a bit of a yarn. Picture this, you're cruising along the Great Ocean Road in a sleek modern ute, say, a brand new Ford Ranger, kitted out with all the bells and whistles. It's smooth, reliable, and hasn't clocked up too many KS. Now, compare that to a classic Holden Commodore from the 70s. It's been done up to the nines, new paint job, fancy leather seats, upgraded engine, the works. It looks like $1 million. And you'd be chuffed to take it for a spin. But here's the rub, no matter how much you polish it, that Commodore's still got decades of wear and tear under the bonnet. The chassis has seen better days, and it's probably had a few too many owners. That's the deal with dating middle-aged folks, they might look the part. But there's often a heap of history you've got to navigate. The Restamod trap. I'm a bit of a car nut, always have been. If you've been following my ramblings, you'd know I'd happily spend a weekend tinkering with a classic rig. My dream ride. A 70s Holden Monaro, Restamoded to perfection with a roaring V8, modern suspension, and disc brakes all round. It's a stunner, no doubt. But even with all the upgrades, it's still a 50-year-old car. The frame's got a few creaks, and you're always wondering when the next gremlin's gonna pop up. Middle-aged folks can be a bit like that Monaro. They've often gone through a glow-up, think gym sessions, a sharp haircut. Maybe even a bit of cosmetic work like a Brazilian butt lift or a fresh set of veneers. On the surface, they are turning heads, and it's easy to get a bit starry-eyed. But here's where my mate, let's call him Dave, keeps coming unstuck. Dave's a ripper of a bloke, but he's got a habit of falling for these Restamoded types. He meets someone in their 40s or 50s, fresh out of a divorce, looking like they've just stepped off a magazine cover. They are charming, confident, and know how to work a room. But as he gets to know them, the cracks start to show. There's baggage, sometimes a whole luggage cart's worth. Maybe it's a messy divorce, kids from multiple partners, or a string of heartbreaks that still sting. And with that baggage comes drama, trust issues, and a whole lot of stories about exes who did them wrong. It's like buying that Monaro only to find out it's been through 3 crashes and a dodgy mechanic. A personal yarn. Let me share a bit of a tale from my own playbook. Back when I was about 40, fresh out of my own divorce, I thought I'd cracked the code on dating. I met this absolute cracker of a single mum, fit, funny, and ticked all the boxes I thought mattered at the time. She had a couple of kids from her previous marriage, and I figured I could handle that. We dated for a couple of years, and things were mostly sweet. But one day, we were gearing up for some fancy event she was keen to show me off at. I'm talking full Armani vibes, nice threads, polished shoes, the lot. I was staying at her place, and as I hopped in the shower, I asked her to iron my shirt for me. Simple request, right? I'm there to make her look good. So a quick press of the shirt seemed fair. Well, she flat out refused. Said she wouldn't iron a shirt for any man, full stop. I was gobsmacked. So, I dug a bit deeper, and she spilled the beans. Back in her 20s, her mum passed away, and her dad was a bit of a mongrel, always stepping out on her mum. After her mum died, she came back from a few years backpacking around Europe, living the dream. As you do, and found her dad's new missus in the house, ironing his shirts like it was her job. That moment burned itself into her brain, and she swore she'd never iron a man's shirt again. Fair enough, you might say, but that's just one story. She had dozens more. Every little thing seemed to trigger some old wound. It was exhausting. And it made me realize that no matter how good someone looks on the outside, the past they carry can weigh you down. Why younger folks might be a better bet. Now, don't get me wrong, middle-aged folks can be absolute gems. They've got life experience, they are often more grounded, and they know what they want. But when you're weighing up your options, younger folks, say, in their 20s or early 30s, tend to come with less baggage. They haven't been through the ringer of multiple divorces or decades of heartbreak. They are less likely to have kids from past relationships, or a laundry list of exes they are still fuming about. Plus, if you're thinking about starting a family, younger folks are generally more fertile, which is a big deal for some blokes. There's also the cold, hard truth about how men and women age in the dating game. Blokes, especially those who've got their act together like Dave, tend to hold their value longer. A 50-year-old man who's fit, successful, and knows his way around a conversation is a hot commodity. Women, on the other hand, tend to peak in their early 20s when it comes to what blokes value most: youth, fertility, and a bit of that carefree spark. Studies back this up, across cultures. From Sydney to Shanghai, blokes consistently rate women around 22 or 23 as the most desirable. It's not about the fake tans or the gym selfies, it's biology, plain and simple. What to watch out for. So, what's the go if you're keen on dating someone middle-aged? First off, you've got to look past the shiny exterior. Sure, they might be a knockout, but what's their story? How many exes are they still hung up on? How many kids, and from how many different partners? What kind of trauma are they lugging around? It's not about being a judgmental prick, it's about knowing what you're signing up for. A mate of mine once put it this way: women tend to size up a bloke based on his future, his job, his ambition, his bank account. Blokes, on the other hand, need to be more focused on a woman's past. Not in a sleazy way, but in a practical one. The more history she's got, the more you're gonna have to deal with. Take Dave, for example. He's still working on breaking his habit of chasing these restomoted types. Every time he meets someone new, I tell him to ask the hard questions early. What's your story? What's been the toughest thing you've been through? It's not about grilling them like a cop, it's about figuring out if their baggage is gonna fit in your boot, or if it's gonna take up the whole backseat. Wrapping it up. At the end of the day, dating middle-aged folks can be like buying a classic car. It might look like a dream, but you've got to be ready for the maintenance. Younger folks, like that shiny new Ranger, tend to have fewer KS on the clock and less drama to boot. That's not to say you should rule out the older models, some of them are absolute rippers. But go in with your eyes wide open. And don't let a polished exterior blind you to the wear and tear underneath. If this yarn's got you thinking, I'd love for you to check out my full podcast episode for more no-nonsense chat about dating and life. You can also swing by my website for a squiz at my coaching programs, supplements, and my new course on cutting through the noise of modern life. If you're new around here, chuck us a follow. I'm always dishing out tips to help you navigate the wild world out there. Cheers, legends.